Hey guys, in this tutorial we're going to create these two iOS UI designs in Adobe XD. Now I also want to remind you that I recently launched a new Adobe XD course, so if you want to bring your skills to the next level with this software, feel free to check it out in a link in the description. But now without further ado, let's jump into the tutorial. So let's get started, and the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to select the very first option, which is at the moment iPhone 12. And let's resize this real quick. As you can see, we have a first artboard in our Adobe XD file, and we're going to double click on this name in order to rename it to 1. And let's get started and let's create the first text, which is going to be login with your credentials. And for this specific example, we're going to use Montserrat, which is a free Google web font, which you can download by simply searching on Google Montserrat font, and you're going to find it right away for free download. And now let's go over here and let's increase the size of this font. However, as you can see, we have this text which is protruding over the artboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the fixed size, and we're going to essentially dial it down so that it is all in one single section. And we're going to also increase the line height between one line and the other. The thing so far, this is looking pretty interesting. Let's try maybe a light version, and we're going to decide afterwards if we want to go with lighter version or bold. For the time being, I think we're in a good spot as we are now. And now we're going to use the rectangle tool. We're going to create the two options to log in, which in this case, we're going to give them the ability to log in via Facebook and also to log in via Google. So let's go ahead here. Let's write login with Facebook, and we're going to make this smaller. All right. And let's make it bolder, maybe not as bold. Let's go with medium. And let's bring this to a size of 17. Let's bring it over here. Let's use the maximum radius that we have at our disposal. And I'm going to go on Nucleo app, which is essentially a free icon management software. And let's go on Facebook. You can find it at nucleoapp.com. So we're going to drag and drop the Facebook icon, and I'm also going to use this one just to sample the actual color. All right, now we're going to select this one, make it white, and bring it over here. Shrink it just a little bit, and let's go ahead and make it white, and let's remove the border. All right, so far so good. So we can probably also center this within the button, and I think we're in a good position. So let's select all of this. Let's use Command+G in order to group this button. We're going to create a duplicate and use login with Google over here. And the way that I created the duplicate is essentially using Alt as I was clicking with the left mouse button and dragging below. So you can easily just duplicate things by clicking Alt as you move them. So just a nice little quick tip. So let's go ahead over here and let's find the Google icon. And there we have it. Let's bring this up And let's make it a little bit smaller. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to actually make this even a bit smaller. So we want to have the icon size to be similar, and let's make this one black. Let's remove the fill, and let's add a border which is going to be 1.5. We're going to make it quite light. All right, so far so good. And now the very next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to add a OR section, which is quite typical within logins. And essentially we're going to give them the ability to log in via email. So let's make this one lighter, and let's duplicate this guy right here. Thankfully it wasn't included in the logo, so let's just deselect all, group it all, and there we go. Now at this point we're going to write over here email, and we're also going to have another section which is going to be for the password. Now I want to be sure that the spacing in between these two buttons are the same also here. So I'm using Option Alt in order to see these measurements. So this is 21 of height in between, and over here it's 22. So let's move it 1 pixel up, and we're gonna be good to go. So let's change this one below to password, and we're also going to just select this, deselect, and duplicate. So simple Command C and Command V, and we're going to write over here, forgot password, and we're going to essentially make this one smaller and change the color of this call to action. All right, so far so good. Let's center this guy, center this one as well, and I think we're in a good position so far. So the very next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to duplicate this, select the Facebook logo, and I'm going to select just the text and essentially center it within the button. Now I'm going to write in a login. I'm going to center it, and I'm going to use the same blue as we have in the forgot password, since this is going to be the main blue of the app. So all right, now let me select all of it. Let's center it just to be sure that everything is on point, and I think we're in a good direction. Just trying to figure out if there's anything else more that we could potentially need in this screen. Maybe we can add some icons over here for the email and password, and actually let's just do that. And I'm also going to make this one just a tiny bit smaller. For some reason, seeing them so big doesn't feel completely right. I'm probably going to use the same color of the R. Let's go ahead here. Let's write email, and we're going to use a outline. Same for the password, which is going to be a lock icon. And let's go over here and find the lock icon, if we can find one. Yep, that'll do. All right, so far so good. Now as we resize it, you can see that the border is a little bit too thick, so we're going to reduce the border size, change the color of these icons. This is 1.5 over here. Let's bring it on the right. Let's try and match the at icon as well. So again, 1.5, let's bring it up. And here we go. All right, so far so good. It's looking pretty interesting visually speaking. And now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this artboard. We're going to create the second screen of this set, which is essentially going to have a hero image on the top. We're going to have some options below. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove pretty much all of this, and I'm going to just grab this element, duplicate it over here, bring it up, and let's make a nice rounded selection. Let's probably keep a radius of maybe 25, that'll do. And now at this point we're going to introduce a element from a amazing kit which I recently discovered on UI8 from Rakata, and it's basically a set of illustrations, and as you can see there are 3D illustrations, really cool. I'm going to leave the link in the description. And now let's go ahead and let's actually use the one of these 3D objects in this set. They all look really cool. So I'm actually wondering which one should we use, and I guess we're gonna try a few. Maybe this one's looking interesting, and I'm just going to copy and paste it over here. And probably let's try and go with a linear gradient. So let's use a hue that we can find over this section. And maybe for this guy right here, let's go with a lighter color, so some sort of a gradient, as you can see here. And let's select this text. Let's bring this one here, and I'm actually wondering if it's worth considering just going all the way in and just make it an entire top section here above. Maybe let's try and give it some sort of a shadow. Yeah, that'll do. Right, this is pretty cool. So, all right, so far so good. So we're going to use a new section. I'm actually trying to figure out a way to make sense of this illustration. So let's try and figure out a theme on the spot for this specific scenario. So let's say, for example, that they just logged in and that they're looking for something. So maybe let's try different illustration. Let's go with this one here. And I'm probably going to change the size over here to semi-bold. Let's make this one smaller. All right, let's make it almost so let's go overhead here, copy appearance. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm literally just trying to figure out some sense of the screen, because I'm creating it on the go. So we're literally creating something from scratch, and let's add some text. Thanks for the hint. All right. And so far, so good. Probably let's try and center this. So let's also add the 3 dots below in order to make it clear that it's an entire sequence, not just a standalone screen. And this will basically bring the user to an onboarding sequence directly from here. All right, let's duplicate these guys 2 times. Change the color of these 2. Let's group them, center them, and we're set. Actually, let's bring these ones here. I'm going to copy the same sizing, or actually Y position of this one. And there we go. All right. Let's also add some explainer sections here below. Let's add a settings option. And also an ID. And this one will do. Change the width to 1.5. Actually, let's go with 2. We're going to change the size of this one as well. And there we go. Let's use a line in between. I think we're pretty much set for this instance. All right, so far so good. So basically we have these two options. These would be like secondary options, if you wish, that will be available in this onboarding sequence. Now at this point, it's just about having a look overall, seeing if everything is looking good, looking sharp, and then essentially course correcting from there as usual. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.